Hey guys, so I swore I had done this before, reacting to Zhongli's teaser, the character demo, but I went back and looked. Apparently I didn't. I might have, but then when I watched it back, it might have had some audio problems or something like that. Because back then I was using Bandicam rather than OBS, and sometimes Bandicam, the sound would just kind of like cut out from videos. Um, so I think I might have. I just never uploaded it because I couldn't. There was no point. You could hear me talking, but the sound was so. And sometimes it would also cut out my voice, which I'm sure most of you would be like, "Oh, that's not a big deal, John. Your monotone voice is exceptionally boring." But there's two videos for Zhongli that we're gonna watch. This one is the character teaser or demo, showing the more badass side, and then there's the softer side of Zhongli. And then after, I'll kind of talk about him as a character and stuff like that. Not only playable, like as a playable character, but lore and just what I like about him. What don't I like about him? But this is Zhongli, the listener.
We last left off with ancient Liyue beset by an ocean demon and a mountain dragon. Rex Lapis mustered his adepti to restore peace to the land. They say that before he set out, he spoke these words.
This is an age of gods and monsters. I wish not for dominion, yet I cannot watch the common folk suffer.
I will have order.
To cleanse the land and defend our safe harbor. That was the first contract in Liyue. And now, the final contract too has been set in stone.
I'm sorry, ladies. You might have just been impregnated by how amazing this dude is. Guys, I'm sorry, but you also might have just been impregnated by how awesome this dude is. God. They call him Big Dong Zhong for a reason. This dude just radiates fucking big dick energy. Like, of all the playable characters, you have, characters like Artaki Ito that just come out who, have this very masculine, aura about them. But it's like they put up his is more like theatrics, and he likes to put on this big show. Zhongli is very subtle. He doesn't like to glorify himself being Rex Lapis. He doesn't like to show fantastic displays of strength. He just likes to go about his day like any other person. And we'll see that in this next one, the Zhongli, an additional expense. Because trust me, when you're hanging out with Zhongli, yeah, you're going to be paying. Anyone who's played his Archon quest knows that. But this is Character Tales, Zhongli, an additional expense.
This is me, fairy lady at Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. No one of importance. This gentleman beside me is our most knowledgeable consultant, Mr. Zhongli.
This Noctilucous jade is small, but a beautiful shade of translucent blue. It would be a shame not to buy it.
Yes, sir.
Pasting a windwheel aster to wet glaze before it is fired in the kiln? Fascinating. The flower turns to ash, but its shape is forever retained. Such genius. It would be a pity to not purchase this.
Yes, sir.
Core lapis is itself hard to gather. It must have taken true skill indeed to unearth two pieces so alike. We should buy them.
Yes, sir. A fine Noctilucous jade, artisan porcelain, and a pair of core lapis, and a windwheel aster as a gift for the fairy lady. Yes, he even got me a gift. Mr. Zhongli truly is an amazing person.
When Xiangling is cooking, it would be far more appealing to go to Wanmin Restaurant as opposed to Sinue Kiosk or Lioli Pavilion.
I'm fine with anything so long as it's good. But do they only have chopsticks?
You will need to be adept with chopsticks if you are to truly appreciate Liyue's gastronomy.
Mr. Zhongli, we have Springvale boar on the menu today. Would you like to try it instead of the salt and pepper tofu?
We'll have both.
In accordance with Snezhnayan customs, we gave Xiangling a tip for her amazing new dish. Mr. Zhongli values friendly ties over Mora and is generous in word and deed. Well, the Wangxiang Funeral Parlor often foots the cost of his generosity. But thankfully, the Northland Bank is bearing this particular bill.
Welcome, come in. Excluding this pair of hairpins, everything else is for sale.
They're not for sale. Why not?
These are heirlooms pawned by a poor fellow to scrounge together money for his wife's medication. I must hang on to them for him until the redemption period expires.
Oh.
I paid off the shopkeeper and took this pair of hairpins, seeking to return them to their owner with some living expenses on the side. Please help me to conceal these expenses in our accounts, would you? I will be sure to buy you lunch. Honestly, once you become entangled with Mr. Zhongli, there's no getting away from him at all.
It's true. Ever since I got him, he's been a permanent member of my team. I never replace him because having him, his giant fucking meteor of death, the shield that he provides, it's great. You know, he is a permanent part of my team. All right, so they had some things right here. So you can see that he really... So the thing people need to understand with Zhongli is he's old. Very old. He's like 6,000 years old. And just as we've seen with some people who are very old, think of like Beerus in Dragon Ball. The guy's like millions of years old, you know, and living for that long, everything becomes so mundane and boring. So what does he do to, you know, perk himself up? He likes to eat. He goes around to different planets and he likes to sample the best cuisine that they have. He finds Earth and it's like, oh wow, this place is amazing. I could destroy it if I want, but they keep, you know, keep feeding me like I want. He also likes to take long naps for like 40, 50 years. Sounds nice. But Zhongli has, before he took the form of Zhongli, you know, Zhongli as we know him, he was Rex Lapis, also known as Morax. Mora comes from him. He was creating Mora. So nowadays, as Zhongli, he spends this money without even thinking about it because he enjoys the finer things, you know, just how he describes about with the windwheel aster and the, you know, having it burn away and having its, you know, it engraved onto the, you know, the glaze and all that. He sees these things and how fine they are and skills that it takes to do certain things, and he pays no attention to the Mora. He's like, wow, this is absolutely beautiful. I need to buy it. But it shows that he's also a true gentleman. You know, the fairy lady who, you know, God knows what she does at the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor, he's taking her out to eat because she's like hiding the expenses, and they're covering a lot of the stuff he's doing, which makes the shows the Wangsheng funeral parlor. Hu Tao is making a lot of fucking mora. So he has money because obviously he's a consultant, and obviously the consultants are paid for their services. So he has mora to spend. So why he has to borrow from the bank and the funeral parlor is crazy. But then he'll go out to eat with Child, and then you see this right here. Okay, so the other one, let's actually total this up. All right, so 100. Let's actually get the calculator here. So we've got 190,000 plus 21,000 plus 152,000 plus, what is it, 200? So just his small amount of shopping, buying 4 items, cost 363,000 mora. That's insane. Now let's go to when he was eating with Child. All right, so we have 4,000 for a meal for 2, plus the 1,000 mora for Zhongling's Springvale boar, her new dish, plus 128,000 for a pair of chopsticks. Hopefully the Snezhnayan diplomat will practice using them. And then another 888 mora for Zhongling's tip. And since Child is the guest, it says in accordance to Snezhnayan customs, so he was responsible for the tip. So he left 888 more as a tip for her. So just the small little trip to the restaurant cost 133,000, almost 134,000 more. The man does not think about money. And when you do his Archon quest, you find that out because he's like, oh yeah, let's buy this. We need to go here. We need to get this. And it's all stuff for the, the festival that's happening, but he doesn't see price. He just sees things that he admires. But like I said, with this pair of chopsticks, I mean, he didn't have to get Child a fancy pair of chopsticks, but he did. Like I said, the guy's a true gentleman. I mean, he's knowledgeable. Like they say, he's knowledgeable in all things, and why wouldn't he? The guy's 6,000 years old. I mean, imagine if you were 6,000 years old. Imagine the knowledge you have by that point. But he's also very deadly. I've said this before, if you're in Liyue and you go to the Gaiun Stone Forest, that whole island, all those little islands, those rocks, the mountains, are spears that Rex Lapis threw at Osial, Lord of the Vortex. So those weren't there originally. Rex Lapis, or as we know him now, Zhongli, took basic mountains and threw them, hitting Osial under the water and trapping him there. The dude is fucking powerful. Now, with Conria, I don't think he had anything to do with Conria. I think that might have been the god of heavenly principles that we see in the beginning, just by the cube type things that we see. But if he wanted to destroy Conria on his own, he could have done so. Tell me, have you heard of the lost civilization of Conria? No, exactly. But the guy is knowledgeable. He's just, I mean, he feels so bad that this guy, these family the family heirlooms, Zhongli felt so bad that this poor man had to pawn these off for medication for his wife, that he not only paid off the shopkeeper for, to take the things back, but he also gave the man living expenses. So not only was he able to take care of his wife, he was also able to take care of any expense that may come up. I don't know if how living situations, if they have rent or mortgage or whatever it is in Liyue, but he gave him enough for living expenses. He didn't have to do that, but he did it. But then, of course, being the little scoundrel he is, asks the fairy lady to conceal them and not write down those. I mean, I'm sure Hu Tao probably doesn't care. I'm sure she makes more than enough in the funeral parlor to pretty much cover any expense that this dude, carries out. And an abacus. When was the last time you saw an abacus? But the guy is, like I said, he's a true gentleman. Knowledgeable. This guy is the kind of guy where if you see him at a restaurant, even if you don't know him, you can sit down and have a chat with him and he will tell you stories. He'll get to know you. And most likely he'll befriend you. He's the kind of guy who just likes taking walks in Liyue Harbor. No reason at all. He's the kind of guy who, like I said, he goes out to look for just small things, whether it be Noctilius Jade or Core Lapis or something. He's like, this is nice. I'm going to buy it. So, being 6,000 years old probably took a lot on him. Since he's no longer Rex Lapis and he's kind of living as the mortal Zhongli, he's no longer creating Mora. But the Golden House, once you get inside there, Game Theory actually did a theory about how Zhongli not creating Mora anymore is going to fuck over Tevat or whatever world, because Tevat is just a continent. We assume Mora is used throughout the entire planet. But he's no longer creating Mora, which means Mora is going to disappear. When you play the game and you upgrade items or anything like that, it costs more, because Mora is from Morax. It's also magically infused, so you can use it to power up items and stuff like that. So eventually people are gonna use up all the Mora. Hopefully by then they'll realize that paper currency is probably a lot better. Make it from trees. You can also plant more trees to make sure that you don't run out. Assuming that people in Tevat aren't like real humans and they're not just fucking cutting down forests all willy-nilly. Having a paper currency probably wouldn't hurt too much. But he's decided that he's like, yep, I'm no longer Rex Lapis, I'm no longer Morax. I'm not going to be creating any more Mora, and I'm just going to live out my life, however long that may be. The guy's 6,000 years old. But he's just going to live out his life as a regular person. I mean, the people of Liyue, apart from a very few, I think one or two people at this point still only know that he's Rex Lapis. The Traveler, of course. And I think Ningguang has the idea that he's Rex Lapis. But if not, then we're the only ones who really know. Maybe the other Archons, obviously, because they all know their little identities and all that. But, what do you do when you're 6,000 years old? And also his voice. The voice. Keith Silverstein is the perfect voice for this dude. I don't think hearing the way his voice is now, I don't think anyone else could really compare to him. Keith is definitely the best person for Rex Lapp or Zhongli. And he's definitely a character I care about. I was doing the rest of the festival rite, or the Lantern Rite Festival earlier, and you find him and you start talking to him. I know this character so well with how he talks. I was actually able to word what he was saying, like reading, but I was saying it as he was saying it, like in the same style and everything. That's how well I know this character. That's how well I love this character, that I'm able to, without even seeing the cutscene, I'm able to read along and either sound it out, and, physically or in my head, exactly how he's saying it. I mean, that's how much I love this character. And it's a lot for a lot of characters. Like I said, people, this is a game. People love these characters. They really, whether they're waifus or husbandos, people love these characters. Except for Xinyan. The fact that they gave her stupid southern accent. I have nothing wrong with a southern accent, but she's a character from Liyue, which is based on China. Why the fuck did you give her a southern accent? So, and she's really not that great of a character. I never see anyone play as her. But Zhongli's voice, his personality, the fact that he's a complete fucking badass. I mean, he looks... I mean, just... The guy just radiates manliness. It's crazy. And a lot of it, again, has to do with Keith's portrayal of Zhongli, that deeper, kind of a bit of a grumble, rasp to it. It's perfect. People are like, his voice is actually better in English than it is in the Chinese and Japanese, because Keith does such an amazing job. But, he values friends. He'll talk your ear off with stories, I'm sure, if you were to sit down with him out of nowhere, even if you don't know him. And he did exactly what I would do. Zhongling's like, do you want this or that one? He's like, we'll have both. I would have done the same thing. I'm like, I want them both. Just bring us both. It'll be fine. His generosity, paying off the shopkeeper so that way the guy can keep his family heirlooms, but then giving him money so that he can live, for however long before, until he gets back on his feet. I mean, the guy is just incredible. 6,000 years old, and you would think that after all the battles he's fought, all the crap he's gone through, that he would be hardened and like, oh, leave me alone. But no, he's very social. And he enjoys the finer things. He taking the stroll in the harbor, enjoying food, going to small shops and helping them out. And now the Northland Bank, I'm sure he doesn't have a problem, because that's the Fatui Bank. So when Child's in town, I'm sure that's where they get the money for all his expenses. Since it's Fatui, and Fatui are kind of the bad guys. But they're kind of set up as these diplomats going around to different areas and like, oh yeah, we can help you out here and blah blah blah. But it doesn't take away from the fact that his heart's obviously in the right place. He doesn't look and say, oh, this is too expensive. He just sees it and he's like, I'm getting this. Oh, well, the fairy lady's been very good lately, and I really appreciate all the work she does for the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. She deserves a gift. He doesn't think about how much it is. He doesn't think about what. A simple little flower is enough to say, hey, I appreciate you. But, I mean, what else can you say about this guy? Anyways, I'm going to stop talking, because it's been 25 minutes. I mean, I could rant about this guy all day because he's that amazing. But I'm not going to. I'm just going to stop right here. Hopefully, if this was your first experience, you enjoyed Big Dong Zhong, or Daddy Zhongli, as some others call him. And if you have seen this before, hopefully you enjoyed watching it again. I just wish I had kept it the first time and had a genuine reaction. But like I said, I looked it up, and apparently I hadn't done it. So, story of my life. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.